𝗦𝘂𝗯𝘀𝗁.
Scientifically prove or disprove that there is anything to clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience. Prove it. Prove that there is, or come back and tell us it isn't so we don't waste any more time on it. That was the first sets of experiments that were done by SRI International. And of course, when they got done with all of that, all of the skeptics of the world were sitting there holding their breath, hoping that they were going to come back and go, there is nothing to this. Sorry, nothing to it. We should just move on. But instead, they came back and said, our research indicates that absolutely there is a human ability to be capable of doing this, to be able to sense information, data from something distant in space-time, and to report it accurately via various methodologies. Because remember, at this time, they were just bringing in natural gifted psychics from wherever they could find them. Uri Geller, Ingo Swann, Pat Price, a bunch of them. Even people, even Tony Robbins claimed that he was part of that group, right? And the second deliverable that came back was, and the tasking was, if you can prove, first, let's go back to the prove it's real. After they said, yeah, it's real, our science and our data indicate that, yes, absolutely, this is a human ability. So the CIA, being who they are and always prepared, to keep somebody between them and the problem, they turned around and hired 2 independent audit agencies. I think it was Paralabs and SAIC. Those 2 audit agencies who didn't get the contract, so that they're going to try to find something, they came in to audit the science and the data analysis done by SRI International. And there were some minor findings there, nothing significant, no obvious, researcher bias and all those kinds of things. They made some small recommendations, some corrective azimuths were made, and now the CIA had not only the primary contract holder, their data and their conclusions, but 2 independent audit agencies who had come in and looked at their science and their data analysis and said, good to go, good science. Okay. Now, you got to be hell pressed to be a skeptic at this point and turn around and go, that's all bullshit, right? They just made it all up, right? So on goes the contract, because now the second deliverable is, okay, since you've proved that it's real, now tell us who can do it. Tell us who will be good at it. Tell us who will be good at it so we can start harvesting them and figuring out a way to do deliverable number 3, which is you got to be able to replicate this. Okay, you got to be able to train people to do this. We can't just have 100 different people coming in from 100 different practices, giving us 100 different intelligence products. We got to have a consistent intel product built in a consistent way that we can utilize. Do you understand that, right, you guys? And so deliverable number 2 is a profound statement. And that deliverable is made clear in this way. I think it came from Russell Targ. Of course, it was the finding of the entire group, but Russell Targ said to the agency, what we have concluded is that this is not something unique to anybody. It's not unique to not one person. Everybody is born with this ability. Everybody's born with this ability. The only way you'll recognize this is if you're willing to put down what you've been told you can't do and proceed with an open mind. And you could probably learn how to do this if you can get out of your way and take the training and know how to do it. Well, that was cool, right? Everybody's born with this ability. That opens up a whole new spiritual can of worms, which would say, so human beings were born as an omnipresent, omnipresent, eternal capability. Why do you think that was? Whoever created us endowed us with those abilities, and then we figured out a way to blind ourselves from all of that throughout the history of humankind in pursuit of what? And if humankind had understood that those were abilities that were assigned to them at birth, how different might this world be if we were actually engaging in those capacities and developing them, right? So one, I'm not going to address that here, but you shouldn't have to think too hard in anybody's brain pan to figure out what it is that curtailed that. What stopped that? Whose best interest did that work against, right? In allowing individual human beings to understand that they were endowed with gifts that allowed them to be omnipotent, omniscient, right? Omnipresent, and therefore eternal on some level. And why was that taken away? Why was it stripped away?